This is a great picture of what has been formally called the brainstem, but now it's included in a larger collection of central nervous system structures, including the thalamus that sits atop of this, kind of like this. And here's our thalamus right here. These structures can be referred to as the diencephalon, or maybe the metaencephalon. No, I'm kidding. Not maybe. It depends whether you include some structures such as the pituitary and pineal glands, which we've not yet talked about. But whatever you collectively call these structures here, it doesn't diminish from the fact that they do act separately. They have separate functions. From superior to inferior, we have the midbrain, the pons, and then the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata, which is pictured here in purple, and I have matching colors, it transitions into the spinal cord at its most inferior border, and in this picture, the spinal cord is pictured in green. The blue areas of this diagram, these are areas that are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. The central aqueduct is superior in this picture. This would be the central aqueduct right here. This is the fourth ventricle right here, big wide open space. And then we have the fourth ventricle transitioning into the central canal as we transition into the spinal cord. The medulla oblongata is the first structure to emerge from the spine hole in the occipital bone of the skull. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding about the emergence, but I'm kidding that it's not called the spine hole. It's called the foramen magnum. At its superior border, it transitions into the pons, and at its inferior border, it transitions into the spinal cord. It's just ever so slightly thicker than the spinal cord itself. First off, there are some cranial nerves that have their nuclei or their cell bodies located here in the medulla oblongata. And those would be cranial nerves 7, 9, 10, and 12. Oh no, I'm sorry, 8, 9, 10, and 12. That's right. I encourage you to stop this video and see if you can name cranial nerves 8, 9, 10, and 12. These anterior bulges right here, these are called the pyramids. These pyramids, they're just long bands of descending tracts. So this is white matter, myelinated, and motor neurons. The corticospinal tracts in the pyramids control motor output for skeletal muscle below the neck. Some cranial nerves do above the neck. Right now, as you take notes, action potentials are descending through this area to control your movements of writing, moving your hand. There are other white matter tracts of the medulla oblongata, such as the sensory tracts of the conscious carrying spinothalamic tract. These are also motor tracts. These axons in the spinothalamic tract originated in the spine and carried conscious information you're aware of, like pain and temperature, to the thalamus. There are also motor tracts, but those are of the tectospinal tract that played a big part in head, neck, and eye movements. Recall that these fibers of the tectospinal and rubrospinal tracts, they get a workout in sports like baseball. Lateral to the pyramids are the olives, which really are these squiggly lines right here. I don't know why they're called olives. The olivary nucleus, it's like a middle person for the cerebrum. Anything that the cerebrum wants to say or hear from the cerebellum goes through the olivary nucleus. Anything that the cerebrum wants to say or hear from the spinal cord, same thing. It goes through the olivary nucleus. This is a structure that relays messages from the spinal cord or cerebellum to the big brain hat or the cerebrum. The last two structures that are important for us to know house what are called the gracile and cuneate nuclei, which are also cell bodies. This is an important area of synapse between neurons, sensory neurons of the second and third order.